Hi guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona. And in this video, I'm doing a detailed review of the new Bose SoundControl hearing aids to see if they really are a good option for mild to moderate hearing loss. Coming up. In May of 2021, Bose finally released their new SoundControl hearing aids, which has a lot of people really excited, including myself. Since the FDA marketing approval back in 2018, a lot of people have been patiently and impatiently awaiting the release of a direct-to-consumer hearing aid by Bose. It got to the point where a lot of people, including myself, felt like Bose was never actually going to release their hearing aid. And it did not help when Bose announced that they were discontinuing their earphones, which made a lot of people feel like they were just completely abandoning their plans to enter the hearing aid market. Well, fortunately, Bose proved everybody wrong because they finally released their SoundControl hearing aids, and now that I've had a couple of months to actually play with them, I want to go ahead and give you my thoughts of these particular devices and tell you what the pros and cons of them are. But before I get into the review, if you could do me a huge favor and click the like button, it really helps out my channel and it lets me know that you're interested in me making these detailed hearing aid review videos. So if you want me to continue to make these videos, make sure that you click that like button. And while you're at it, if you have not yet hit the subscribe button with notification bell, go ahead and do that as well, because that makes sure that you never miss one of my new videos. That being said, I really appreciate it. Now back to the review. For the sake of full disclosure, I do own a lot of Bose products. I have multiple TV soundbars from Bose, I have headphones from Bose, I have earbuds from Bose, I have the sleep buds from Bose, and I even have the now discontinued earphones from Bose. So basically what I'm telling you here is I'm a huge fan of Bose. Of course, I am also an audiologist who dispenses hearing aids out of my clinic. So technically, now that Bose is selling hearing aids, it makes Bose a competitor of mine. Nevertheless, as with any hearing device, I try to remain as unbiased as possible in my reviews, which is why you'll see me say good things and bad things about every single product that I ever review on my channel. To simplify this review for you, I'm going to break it down into 6 different sections: the purchasing process, the hearing aids themselves, the app, the Bose virtual support feature, the custom programming capabilities, and then I'll give you my final thoughts of the Bose SoundControl hearing aids, and I will have each of these sections timestamped in the description so you can skip around to different sections if you prefer. First and foremost, the Bose SoundControl hearing aids are technically the first FDA-cleared direct-to-consumer hearing aid for perceived mild to moderate hearing loss, which means that you can purchase them online without a hearing test and without having to have them professionally fit by a hearing care professional. The purchasing process is relatively straightforward, but I highly recommend that you actually do the Bose hearing screener that they have on their website so you can identify if the Bose SoundControl hearing aids would be able to treat your level of loss. The screener itself, after asking a few simple questions, plays numbers mixed with static noise that gets easier and harder based on how well you perform. Here is a sample of what the screening sounds like.
2, 9, 3, 5, 0.
At the end of the screening, it will indicate your suspected level of hearing loss. If you score between mild and moderate, then Bose hearing aids might work for you. If you score in the severe range, then the Bose hearing aids will not work for you, and you are recommended to go see a hearing care professional. Once you identify that you may be a good candidate for the SoundControl hearing aids, you can go right to the ordering page and purchase your devices that are now available throughout the continental United States, including Alaska and Hawaii. While there are some states like Florida that prohibit the sale of online hearing aids, I do not see Bose being too worried about this because it is highly unlikely that any of these states would actually take legal action anyway. The cost of a pair of these devices is $849.95 with free standard shipping. If you want express shipping, you can pay an additional $25. It is no secret that one of Bose's goals for these SoundControl hearing aids is to make them more affordable. But if $850 is still not affordable for you, they do have a payment plan that can make your payments around $71 a month. As far as what you get inside of the box, you get the hearing aids, of course. You get a storage case, you get 3 different open and closed dome sizes, a cleaning brush, an ear wire measurement tool, a pack of size 312 batteries, and a user manual. let's go ahead and point out a few things about these hearing aids. First being the build quality, which seems to be pretty good at this price point. The hearing aids themselves have 2 microphone ports, one on each side of the hearing aid, as well as an up and down push button that controls the volume of the hearing aids. The battery door is on the bottom of the hearing aid, and of course they use a size 312 hearing aid battery. They also use receiver wires with removable silicone rubber domes, and they even use exchangeable wax guards underneath the domes to protect your receiver from earwax. You can buy extra receivers, batteries, ear tips, and wax guards on Bose's website, which are a little on the pricey side, but since their hearing aids only cost $850 for a pair, we will give Bose a pass on the accessory cost. As far as what the Bose hearing aids look like as I wear them, I will go ahead and steal a quote from the late Henry Ford when he was talking about the Motor T, which is, "You can get a Bose SoundControl hearing aid in any color that you want as long as it's silver." So this is basically the only color you can get. I do wish they had different types of colors to match it to either skin tone or hair color, but it is what it is. As far as what they look like in general, I think they look like a pretty good hearing aid. They're pretty slim because they use that size 312 battery. The only thing that I'm not a huge fan of is that receiver wire, as it goes into your ear canal, kind of has an upward angle, and I can feel it pushing on the top of my ear canal, which does make it a little bit uncomfortable. Now, those wires that come down from the hearing aid into your ear, they come in different lengths. It comes with a standard length of 2, but if you need a different length when you put it on, you're like, boy, this wire is just way too long for my ear, you can actually reach out to Bose and they will send you a free set of ear wires in the appropriate length for you. Can I just say that I'm really proud of Bose for making a receiver in the canal version of a hearing aid. I am so sick of all these online companies selling these cheap slim tube devices that have significantly less performance than a receiver in the canal device. So bravo to Bose for making these a receiver in the canal option. However, receiver in the canal hearing aids are also a little bit more expensive because the wires are more expensive. And if you need to replace these wires like Bose recommends that you do every year, it's going to cost you $50 per receiver wire, but if you ask me, for the performance benefit, it's totally worth it. According to Bose, these hearing aids are water resistant and they're capable of surviving very light exposure to rain or water. Now, I could not identify what their IP rating is. I doubt that their IP rating is a 6.8 rating, which is as high as you can get with a hearing aid, but the good news is that if you happen to kill them with moisture, they are under a 1-year warranty, so you can get them replaced inside of that time. Of course, if you're outside of that warranty period, you're just going to have to buy a new set of devices. Now, like I mentioned earlier, these hearing aids use disposable batteries, which unfortunately means that they are not rechargeable. And the battery drain is on the high side at 2.8 milliamps per hour, and this is without these devices even being able to perform any type of Bluetooth wireless streaming. Yes, you heard me right. These Bose hearing aids do not have direct Bluetooth streaming capabilities, so you're not going to be able to stream music into these devices, audiobooks, podcasts, YouTube videos, and you cannot make phone calls directly into these devices as well. Now, they do have Bluetooth Low Energy, but this only allows you to connect with the Bose Hear App to make programming changes through your tablet or your smartphone. The Bose Hear App does allow you to do a number of things, including increasing the overall volume of the hearing aids with the world volume, and emphasizing either more low-frequency bass tones or high-frequency treble tones. They also let you adjust the balance to either emphasize more amplification in the left ear or right ear. Just as a word of caution here, if you happen to notice that you need to adjust the balance of your devices significantly, it could indicate a serious medical condition and you should see an audiologist right away. That being said, the focus button allows you to control the directionality of the hearing aids to either prioritize sounds coming in front of you or from everywhere around you. The Modes button allows you to change between 4 different preset program settings or create your own personal modes. Basically, if you find a combination of world volume, treble and bass, balance, and directionality that you like, you can either overwrite one of the preset modes or you can create your own personal mode to give you quick access to your preferred settings. Just so you know, the preset modes are basically just suggestions, and it does not mean that you'll hear better with those settings in those particular environments, so I highly recommend that you actually try to make your own modes instead. When it comes to professional support, Bose does offer virtual support via Microsoft Teams, so I went ahead and scheduled one of these 30-minute sessions myself and got to speak with a very nice young man named Daniel. I had him take me through their general Learn More session to familiarize me with their devices and how the app works. A few key takeaways from this session were that because this support is based out of the UK, there was a very thick British accent. While this was not an issue for me, this could make comprehension difficult for some individuals with hearing loss. These support individuals are not audiologists, so they cannot answer more technical questions or provide any recommendations on how you should adjust your hearing aids. So if you are looking for advice on how to adjust your devices, you will not receive this advice from Bose. I did ask some basic questions that Daniel did not have answers for, which he did write down and said that he would get back with me. However, it has been over 4 weeks and I still have not had these questions answered. Otherwise, I think these sessions could be very helpful and should be considered mandatory for individuals who are not familiar with hearing aids yet. So the question really becomes, how well does the self-fitting approach to hearing treatment work with the Bose SoundControl hearing aids? Well, according to a study conducted by Bose back in 2018, they identified that self-fit devices perform very similar to professionally fit devices, which is one of the main reasons why the FDA granted them marketing authorization for their Bose hearing aids. While this was favorable news for Bose, they did not actually conduct this study with their Bose hearing aids. They conducted them with a different set of devices. So I wanted to go ahead and take this time to do some objective measurements with their hearing aids using real ear measurement. Now, if you do not know what real ear measurement is, then I highly recommend that you check out my video that I will link in the description. Otherwise, this section may not make a whole lot of sense to you. Real ear measurement is basically a way for me to objectively measure the amplification settings and features of a hearing aid while being worn by a hearing aid user. Now, I spent about 2 hours performing a variety of different tests with these hearing aids on my assistant who has a mild to moderate hearing loss. But in general, I was looking for 3 main things. First, when self-programming based on personal preference, I wanted to see how much additional audibility these devices actually gave to my assistant, and I also wanted to see at this preference level how far away it was from her actual hearing loss prescription. Second, I wanted to measure how well features like front focus and noise reduction worked with these SoundControl hearing aids. And third, I wanted to see how close I could program these hearing devices professionally to match an NAL/NL2 hearing loss prescription for my assistant's hearing loss, and then identify how good they sounded once we did. Here is the audiogram of my assistant that we based the hearing loss prescription off of. She has a mild to moderate hearing loss that should be well within the capabilities of the Bose hearing aids. Initially, I measured sound inside of her ear canals without any form of amplification. This is called her ear canal resonance, which is indicated by the solid pink line. Then I placed the hearing aids into her ears and measured the sound again at her preferred amplification settings that she created with the Bose Hear App. She preferred a world volume of 38 with a slight emphasis towards bass at 9. She also preferred the comfort of the open tips inside of her ears versus the closed tips, which does impact amplification levels. The purple hash mark line indicates the prescription for her hearing loss. The solid purple line indicates the amount of amplification she is receiving from the Bose hearing aids at her self-selected amplification settings. Ideally, we would want to see the solid purple line overlap with the purple hash mark line, which would indicate she is receiving the amount of amplification necessary to meet her prescription and overcome her level of hearing loss. At her self-selected amplification settings, she primarily receives approximately 5 decibels of amplification at 2000 Hz and above. But as you can see, she is still significantly under-amplified at her preferred settings, which would result in too little audibility to overcome her hearing loss completely, which is a major concern, especially if she wants to hear her best. Next, I wanted to measure how well the front focus feature allowed the Bose hearing aids to perform directionality. Now, directionality is basically a hearing aid's ability to amplify sounds that are coming from in front of you and reducing the amount of amplification given to sounds coming from behind you. To measure this, we need to compare amplification levels originating from in front with amplification levels originating from behind, while the focus feature inside of the app is set to front. For this test, the front measurement is illustrated by the solid red line, and the behind measurement is illustrated by the solid green line. When comparing these lines, we can see that there is a difference in amplification levels using the front focus setting, primarily in the upper frequency ranges, which is no surprise considering that we are using open ear tips. This does verify that there is at least some directional effect occurring since more amplification is given to a sound coming from in front versus sounds coming from behind. Next, I wanted to measure the noise reduction capabilities of the SoundControl hearing aids by seeing how much they could reduce amplification levels for a steady state noise like an air conditioner or vacuum cleaner. We evaluate noise reduction by playing a pink noise signal and measuring the reduction in amplification given to that signal over a short period of time. What you can see here is about a 10 decibel measured reduction in amplification levels, which is illustrated by how far down the red line is below the purple line. In my opinion, Bose has a very good noise reduction algorithm programmed into these devices. And finally, I wanted to see how well the Bose SoundControl hearing aids could match an NAL/NL2 hearing loss prescription for a mild to moderate hearing loss. Using the Bose Hear App, I made adjustments to the devices to see how close I could get the solid pink line to match with the hash mark pink line. As a reference, I left the solid purple line, which is my assistant's preferred self-made program settings. After some significant adjustments via the Bose Hear App, you can see that I was able to get pretty close to the prescriptive target lines. Personally, I find this very impressive, but not surprising considering I was able to accomplish this same accuracy of prescriptive match using the Bose hearphones when I reviewed them several years ago. I did, however, have to switch from open ear tips to closed ear tips due to feedback issues when amplifying sounds to these higher levels. All measurements considered, I would say that I'm pretty impressed with the customizability and the digital features that I measured using real ear measurement. And that being said, what are my final thoughts about the Bose hearing aids? First, I have to say that I like what Bose has done with their first generation of SoundControl hearing aids. By no means are they the best hearing aids in the world, but at a price point below $1,000, no one should have expected them to be. Second, I really feel like Bose missed a huge opportunity to capitalize on a much broader segment of the hearing loss market by not adding Bluetooth inside of their hearing aids to allow for direct streaming. I've had a lot of individuals reach out to me and say, Cliff, I cannot consider these devices. If they don't have Bluetooth in them, that is a deal breaker for me. Third, I love that Bose offers unlimited virtual support. So if you need additional help, you can reach out to Bose and it'll actually schedule a time with you to talk to one of their support staff. Now keep in mind, this support staff will not give you recommendations on how to program your hearing aids. It's more of like a how-to support. While a lot of experienced hearing aid users may not need any support from Bose, I do believe that a lot of new users could benefit from having some kind of support, and Bose gives you that. Fourth, the Bose Hear App was very easy to utilize and to get the hearing devices to match a hearing loss prescription for a mild to moderate hearing loss. But I will tell you that my assistant did report a reduction in sound quality when we boosted her up all the way to her prescriptive levels. This leads me to my biggest concern, which is a lot of individuals who are new to hearing treatment, they actually prefer a lower level of amplification. And while they might feel like they're hearing better, this can be detrimental long term for them because they never actually hit their full prescription and they never get their optimal audibility back. Now don't get me wrong, some benefit is always better than no benefit, but I truly believe in order to optimize performance with any hearing aid, you need to be as close to your hearing loss prescription as possible in hearing devices that allow you to do so. Despite some of the limitations of these devices, I feel like the Bose SoundControl hearing aids are exactly what we need right now. We need options for individuals that have affordability issues and who have accessibility issues, and the SoundControl hearing aids very nicely fill that void. So if you ask me if I felt the Bose hearing aids were worth a shot to treat a mild to moderate hearing loss, I would tell you yes. And keep in mind, that's coming from somebody who dispenses hearing aids regularly and would consider Bose a competitor. Now, do I think that the Bose hearing aids are the panacea that solves every problem that we have when it comes to affordability of hearing treatment and accessibility and quality of hearing treatment? The answer to that is clearly no. However, if they do not work for you, you always have other options that you can go to that will work for you. But as of right now, I have to say that these Bose SoundControl hearing aids, from a technology perspective, are significantly far behind even the most basic hearing aids from basically all of the major hearing aid brands at this moment. But don't think for one second that Bose isn't already working on a second generation device that fixes a lot of the shortcomings of their first generation device. I just really hope that it doesn't take them another 3 years to release a new version. On top of that, I also hope that Bose sells enough of these and makes enough money off of them to justify them keeping them around so we don't see them become discontinued like the Bose hearphones. All that being said, if you have a perceived mild to moderate hearing loss and you want a pair of self-programmable hearing aids that won't break the bank, then I highly recommend that you give the Bose SoundControl hearing aids a try. That's it for this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you liked the video, please share it, and if you want to see other videos just like this one, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also, feel free to check out my website, drcliffaud.com.